We're
Hey
live.
guys, thanks for joining the third live episode on Saturdays every 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Today we got some featured guests, amazing martial artist and actor Ron Hall. We got award-winning filmmaker Robert Samuels, and of course my co-host Brian the Beast Robinson. And Ron and Robert, you guys had recently worked on a new martial arts film together. Can you tell us about that project?
Yeah,
Sure,
it's
Bob.
okay. It's a thanks for having me. First of all, I appreciate it. Good seeing you guys, Brian. Uh, Shadowfist is a series that myself and my partner Robert Jefferson came up with several years ago. It was basically created as an homage to the early days of Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest, of which my background is from Hong Kong, working and living with Samo. Um, we came up with the idea, loose concept about this particular scroll, and how it's passed through time, so to speak. If it's in the hands of someone nefarious, it doesn't read right. If it's in the hands of pure good, it's what it's about. So it's just a fun-filled, nostalgic journey, and it kind of throws us back to the olden days of Hong Kong cinema.
Okay, and this is like the third one in the series, right?
Yeah, this is the third one, which I labeled, Final Contact, the final chapter, Shadowfist. I'm sorry, the final chapter. Just trying to bring a close to the series. However, the fans are asking for more, so we'll sit back and try and figure it out after that. But thus far, we haven't even released it, and we've won 8 festivals across the world: Italy, France, Germany, today Malaysia, the
Wow.
UK. So we're doing really well with the film.
Yeah, congrats,
Thank
man.
you to Ron Hall for joining me on this venture. I saw him last year at Urban Action Showcase, and he was there for the screening of Shadowfist 2. When we were talking, I've known Ron for 30 years. He was in Hong Kong with me, and we've always searched for the right vehicle to do. And I just felt that Shadowfist 3 would be a great vehicle to kind of show the audiences that Ron still got it.
And you guys have not worked together prior to this film?
No, we've actually, no, we did work together. We worked together
on
on a music
Golden
video.
Arms.
Yeah, years ago for Lo Mang of the Five Deadly Venoms in Los Angeles.
Okay, hey Ron, can you tell us about your experience shooting this film and working with Robert?
Sure. Like Bobby said, we go back a long way, 30 years. So we have intrinsic brotherhood, 2 Black guys discovering each other in Hong Kong, both wanting to do martial art movies, instantly, gave us an affinity to each other. And we've always wanted to work together. A couple of years ago, we attempted a small project using the guys from Martial Club and Lo Mang from Five Deadly Venoms. What was that called, Bobby? Golden Arm Returns.
Golden Arm Returns, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
so
for a track off of a Wu-Tang.
Right. Yeah, so we tried to put that together with mixed results. And the Martial Club guys went on to international fame, being in the Shang-Chi movie.
Sure.
And being some of the top, and also the Everywhere All at Once film with Michelle Yeoh. And, much success to those guys. And me and Bobby chose to work together on this project. And I just thought it was a good way for me to reintroduce myself into audiences, because I haven't been on film in about a decade. And I know people always question whether or not you're still able to do the type of things you're able to do. And I think this film well demonstrates that I'm still capable of delivering the same type of action that I was delivering, whether you saw my films 20 or more years ago.
Now, Ron, most people are still very impressed with your performance in Bloodsport 2, which, if you guys haven't seen that, definitely check it out. Ron is a standout in that, along with Daniel Bernhardt, of course. So as far as like your abilities these days, like how's your martial arts training? How are you able to still maintain, because you had explosive athleticism, amazing technique. Like, how often are you training martial arts these days?
Well, I live as a martial artist. It's not about kind of like a training, meaning that, sometimes I'll give you an example. Sometimes I might not do a flip for a year. And then, every once in a while I'll just go, let me just give it a try. And I'll give it a try and still am able to do it. So things like, I practice martial arts all the time, just in various degrees or another. I don't have intensive training like when I was young. It was intense all the time, but I have many
Sure.
different aspects of my life that I have to balance as opposed to training in martial arts all the time. So I get to work out occasionally, and I'll give an example. Anytime I train with younger people, they're always amazed about my speed. That's the first comment. They go, "How can a guy your age be so fast?" I think it's a different understanding of the mechanics of how you move your body. When you're young, you think it's about energy and power, and I think once you become more experienced and get older, you understand it's about understanding dynamics, a little bit more about rhythm and timing and interacting with other people that will enhance your speed and keep your speed similar to what you may have had it when you were younger. Had I known I would be this physically adept at the age I am now, when I was a lot younger, I would have stressed out a lot less because when you get in your 40s, you're kind of thinking, oh, this is over. You're not going to be able to do it too long. And the reality of it is, I believe you could probably do it as long as you're committed to doing it.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. And I can't wait to see this film and your performance these days. Speaking of which, Bobby, when's this film coming out? Like, when can we watch it?
So it'll be right now. We're doing the festivals. We have Blackout right now. We just released Blackout. That's doing well. That just won the best international film for the New York Movie Awards. So we're very pleased with that. That's a different type of a vehicle. It's a more film noir mixed with some cutting edge new wave action. Just something different. Um, Shadowfist 3 will be released January 2024. So right now we'll do the festival circuits for the duration of 23. Blackout was the final release of our company for the 23 season, and we want to open up 24 with a bang with Shadow Fist 3. So it's a marketing strategy, but I think it's working. As you can see, I think we've won maybe 8 or 9 awards across the world thus far, even before the release. So I'm actually anticipating a good response from the audience once we do release it. So that's early January.
Okay. As far as filmmaking goes, like when did you get into filmmaking? Because if I had to guess, I'm guessing you were probably like Ron as far as like an actor, a martial artist trying to be on, the side of the camera where you're being filmed. Like when did you get on the other end of the camera though?
So most people know I worked for Sammo Hung for many years in Hong Kong. Subsequently, our relationship grew to where I was his only U.S. Citizen, U.S. Student, and so I started living with him.
Wow.
So as I'm living with him, he put me under contract with his company, and as we were filming, he said, "Do you just want to be an actor?" I said, "No, ultimately, I want to be a director." So I'll never forget it. We were filming a film called Momin Bay, which is "Don't Give a Damn" in English, and I was the lead. First time they let a black actor be a lead in a Hong Kong film. Um, and I would just ask Samo certain things, and he would instruct me on where the camera would go, the positioning, how he came up with the concept of the story. Living with him, I actually got intimately to understand every aspect of how he puts his projects together. I didn't want to be a carbon copy of Samo, so with all the years of tutelage under him, I just used the tools that he gave me to kind of finesse and make my own way in the business. I am the only African American Hong Kong stuntman ever, so I
Wow.
was kind of hoping that somebody would come behind me and take that. But that's another thing that I'm honored to be about. And so working with the Hong Kong Stuntmen's Association also gave me an idea. We're working with a lot of prolific Hong Kong directors. I worked with Yuen Wu Ping, who did The Matrix. I have Colin Cho, who played Seraph in The Matrix. Sammo Hung, we're the same age. We're both Sammo students, so our careers are kind of paralleled. So yeah, I've done a tremendous amount of work. I've worked with Stanley Kwan as well, Kochi Sum, many prolific Hong Kong directors. Then I left in '96, came back to the United States. I started directing music videos for such acts as DMX, Paula
Oh,
Cole,
wow.
Metallica, a lot of rap artists, things of that nature. And then subsequently, I started doing films here, A level, B level. I did The Corruptor with Chow Yun Fat. I just recently did a film called From the Shadows with Keith David and Academy Award nominee Bruce Davidson. So I try to keep my hands in different things and not just be pigeonholed into just action. So,
Can Ron, can I ask you a quick question about Dale Apollo Cook
Sure.
and your work with him?
Me and Dale did 3 movies together.
Yep. Target. Yep.
Yeah.
Raw Target, Double Blast.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
well, what do you want to know about working with Dale? Dale was great.
Yeah.
Dale had
Yeah,
thing I noticed about Dale. Dale had an incredible sense of humor. You know, he's a world kickboxing champion. He looked very intimidating on the posters. And when I met him, he was like, "Yo, man, what's up? How you doing? I'm a kickboxing champion." He was real cool. You know, he was real cool, and you know, we had a great time. I thought we had good chemistry on screen. You know, and we played off of each other well. And, you know, my favorite movie that I've ever done, which is Triple Impact, the first movie that I did with Dale, is actually my favorite movie. And I could have gone on to do, you know, 5 more movies with Dale, and I just think they all would have been fun.
Wow.
Triple Impact. That sounds like a sequel to Double Impact.
Yeah, I was kind of hard when they first told me they were going to name it, because it was right at the time when Double Impact came out. They were like, "Ron, we got the movie title. It's going to be called Triple Impact." I was like, "Oh God!" But,
they got to one up it, man.
And also, I can't forget Bridget Baby Doll Riley, who went on to become a notable female kickboxer and prominent stunt woman, was also in the movie. I think it was her first film also, and she was absolutely incredible. So that's my favorite of all my works, just in terms of the whole film.
But why is that your favorite? As far as like, you think that's the best quality film, or did you just have the most fun making it?
I think it's a combination of a couple of things. First of all, just when I watched the movie, the entire story, it's fun to watch. It's just like 2 kickboxers trying to, you know, finagle people and make some money, and they get involved with. What was funny was they had an Ong Bak statue in there when nobody knew what it was. That's what we were after, the same statue that they had in the Ong Bak movies. And then, you know, me and Dale, our chemistry, you know, we had a good chemistry, white guy, black guy, you know, best friends, but at odds. And I just like it. It just has a good vibe. It's fun to watch. I would say outside of Bloodsport 2, it's the movie I'm asked about the most. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you guys can find some cool clips on YouTube. I found a few nice clips from that movie. It's very impressive. Bobby, what about you? Like, what's your favorite film that you worked on?
let's see. I've done about 30 films. For me, I would say Gambling Ghosts, Hong Fuk Chai Tian in Chinese. That was the first time I had an opportunity to meet Sammo. And that's really where our relationship kind of forged. I remember doing that film, and it kind of really changed my life by a decision that I made. I had met Sammo, but I didn't really think he cared for my action or anything. So I was at dinner one night. We got the call that I had gotten the role. I show up to set. We filmed for a number of days, but I finished a week early in that production. And the producers owed me a certain amount of money. So they were like, well, can you kind of work with us on that? I said, I'll work with you on one condition: if you allow me to speak to Sammo. So I went to Sammo and I said, listen, we finished early. You know, there's some money issues. I'm willing to forfeit the money if you just allow me the opportunity to work with you again. And he said, really? He said, deal. And so that probably was the smartest decision I ever made, because after that film, I came back to the U.S. for another year. I worked for U.S. Airways at the time. That's how I was able to facilitate moving back and forth from Hong Kong to the U.S. At that point, I got a red slip saying that I was going to be terminated. I called Sammo and he said, catch the first plane out. Someone met me at the airport. They took me to immigration. I was put on file as Sammo's interpreter as a guide. But I was signed to a 3-picture deal with him. The important part was I only got a one-way ticket. I didn't buy a round trip portion because I said, really, this was my last shot. And I wasn't coming back until I made it. So for me, that film will always be special, because if I made the wrong decision that day and let money dictate my future, then I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now. So for me, that is my favorite film. But I've done a lot.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Definitely worked out. That's awesome.
David, can I ask you a quick question? Maybe these guys can answer it. Sam Ho worked on a series. So I don't know. The English interpretation has to be wrong. Maybe the title of the series, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's called Pantyhose Hero. And he
Oh,
does
yeah.
martial art. Like what happened with the interpretation? Or is there something like I've always wondered that. So I don't know if you guys have the answer for that.
So what did you see? You saw the English version of it?
Yeah, yeah, and the title's Pantyhose Hero, and I could never understand how it
Why
must
the
have got
title
lost in
correlated to the
translation.
story?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Sometimes in Chinese culture, they come up with titles like for U.S. and other film communities, the titles are usually based upon the subject matter. In Hong Kong, that's somewhat different interpretation on how they view things and how they name their films. That would not be the only film that people would say that about that Sammo has done. So yeah, that's pretty common in Hong Kong, where you try to wonder, well, pantyhose hero. I really don't understand that. What is? He's not wearing pantyhose. He's not the hero of the story. So the literal interpretation doesn't work. So yeah, that's common. That's common.
yeah. I always wanted to ask that. It's always befuddled me.
Yeah.
But
For
I
my
get
film, Hong Fuk Tai Tien, Gambling Ghosts. I mean, there was no gambling ghost, so couldn't figure it out. But Sammo did play three characters in that movie. He played the father, the grandfather, and the son. So that was interesting. So I don't know where the gambling ghost came in though. Now he did play a gambling game in the beginning, but he wasn't a ghost. So again, that's just how it works sometimes.
Bobby, you remember during that time it was a lot of God of Gambler movies.
That's
So
right. That was a play.
that's
There
where
you go. There you
got
go.
that
Sometimes
title
it's a play off of that. At that time, Chow Yun Fat was really at the peak of his career, and he did a series of films dealing with gambling. And I believe that sometimes other film companies try to lend themselves to that moniker, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
what I like about Sam Ho too, and I don't mean to cut you off, just real quick. He is a comedian. I've watched
By far the best. By far the best.
stuff, and it's like serious comic. Everything he's being serious, but comedy's happening around him, which kind of makes it even funnier. But anyway,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you there.
No. Listen, Sammo, for me, it was a complete honor. Most Americans have an opportunity to work with him, but I was very fortunate to actually live with him in his home, so that offered me a totally different insight into Sammo, the man, not just the filmmaker. I remember at that time he had VHS tapes all over the wall, and I would get up in the morning. He was like, well, you can get yourself something to eat. There's movies there to watch. I said, I can watch any of them. He said, yeah. So I remember just getting up early and grabbing a couple of VCR tapes and just putting them in and watching them. And they were behind the scenes of Eastern Condors that he's never released, Enter the Dragon that he's never released. And I said to him when the guy said, why did you're sitting on a gold mine here? What's up? But for him, certain things are special, as far as the footage that he has of Bruce Lee on Enter the Dragon, he's not going to release that because him and Bruce had a special relationship and he doesn't want to capitalize on that aspect of the relationship, put that footage out there just for financial gain or for fandom, that it's personal to him, Sammo's a very unique individual, and he is Daigo. Jackie is the bigger star, but he is Daigo. So whenever they work together, Jackie kind of has to acquiesce to Big Brother Sammo.
You know what? I would like to add something about Sammo Hung. Sammo Hung probably is the most complete martial art filmmaker performer that we've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's an actor. He sells that. He's a director, fight choreographer, a producer. He has worked in every incarnation of the martial art movie genre and had a hit. He's produced a lot of martial arts stars. And I think he gets underrated because of that very fact that Sammo is the one guy in the whole genre that does it all and does it all at the top level. So he's really a great inspirational filmmaker. I had the opportunity and displeasure of fighting him on the first episode of Martial Law, where he hit me in the face 5 times harder than anyone has ever hit me in any movie I've ever done. And but it was cool because it was Sammo Hung.
Well, he knocked my tooth out and don't give a damn. He grabbed my head and lifted me up. Yeah. Pow! Kicked me. My tooth went out. I felt it. I spit it out. He said, Bobby, you okay? I said, yes. I said, my tooth is out. I got to see a dentist. He said, oh, no time for that. No time. Put it in your pocket. Get him some water. Back to work. That's just how it works in Hong Kong, you know?
Hey, question, Bobby, since you live with that Sammo Hung out there, did you guys train martial arts together?
Yes, we did. There was a nucleus group of us. It was myself, a guy named Cho Wing, who's known for his kicks, and Lau Ka Leong. Most of you may know him from the movie The Victim. They call him Beardy. We were the clique, and Lau Ka Wing, one of Lau Ka Leong's younger brother. We were kind of a group. It was known as the Hong Gaban, the Hong Stung group. So we all kind of trained together, worked together, played soccer together, you know. I joined the Asia Movie Star Sports Association, you know, so I was very fortunate to be able to train with pretty much all luminaries of Hong Kong. You know, I knew Jackie very well. I would go to Golden Harvest and just have opportunities to see him. He brought me on set for Armor of God. I'll tell you a real quick anecdote. Samuel called me in the office one day and he says, Bobby, Jackie wants to use you in his film. I said, what? Oh my God. Are you kidding me? I'm working with you. Now I get to work with Jackie. So he said, yeah. Don't worry. It's going to be great. You're going to go to New York. I gave him permission because in Hong Kong, if you follow someone, you have to get permission. I was under contract with Samo. So that night, you know, I'm all excited. I couldn't sleep. You know, I said, oh my God, I'm working with Samo and now I get to work with Jackie. The next day I get to the office. He says, Bobby, come in the office. I go to the office and he says, yeah, Jackie made me mad. You're not doing the movie. And I was like, okay, Dad, you know, I was crestfallen, but it was okay because, you know, I was under a contract with Samo, but personally I was like, oh my God. And that film was actually Rumble in the Bronx. And what happened was, as brothers do, they had a little argument, you know, and that's what brothers do, you know. Of course, that doesn't mar the relationship of the two of them. They've known each other since childhood, you know. And so it was just a momentary hiccup. But the funny part is that when both films were released, they were released on the same day, battling at the box office. So when we went to the premiere, Rumble was on one side and Don't Give a Damn was on the other. And I could have been in both. Wow. So just a funny story.
Rumble in the Bronx was huge. I remember seeing that in the theater. I mean, that was the one that, you know, if people weren't, if they weren't watching like Jackie Chan's Hong Kong films that they got from the video store, that was really the first like big exposure in America, man.
That's correct.
The doors open. Yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. A quick question: prior to you training with those guys in that group in Hong Kong, like, what is your martial arts background?
So I studied. I went to see a movie years ago called Five Fingers of Death, and that really made the biggest impression on me that I actually wanted to go to Hong Kong and do movies. The lead actor in there, I was a kid. Subsequently, though, the ironic part is that the first film I did in Hong Kong was with that star that I was watching at 10 years old.
Wow.
So that kind of brought it home to me. I began my martial arts career in Philadelphia under a guy named Maurice Tunstall. He was a descendant of the Dongfeng Lam Se Wing Hong Kien. So he taught me, and then he introduced me years ago to Chu Chi Ling. Most of you may remember him from Kung Fu Hustle. He played the tailor in Kung Fu Hustle. Chu Chi Ling ended up being my manager in Hong Kong for 3 years prior to me linking up with Samo. And so I studied with him and his mother and father. So my true base is Hong Kien. But I've dabbled in different styles, Wing Chun, monkey style, just a myriad. The only thing I haven't delved into is like the karate, taekwondo. I never really went that route. So my martial background is basically kung fu, and I started from the age of 10.
Okay.
Are you here in Philly?
I am in Philly.
I mean, were you in Philly? I'm sorry. Did you study here in Philly? Like you grew up and studied?
Yes.
All right, because I'm in Philly, right out. I'm in Bucks County, but yeah.
I'm in Upper Darby.
Oh, okay. We live near each other.
Right.
You guys are neighbors.
Yeah, man.
We got, hey, Brian, we'll meet in Chinatown.
You know what? I'll bring Tim with me. Tim Witherspoon. Terrible Tim Witherspoon. We'll hang out.
Tim. I know Tim.
Yeah.
Tim's a good friend of mine. Bring him.
Yes. Oh, maybe we'll even do a live all together.
I'd love
He's got
to
his
do
own
that.
channel.
Wow, small world. Okay. Excellent.
I run his YouTube
We're
channel.
right here. Simply
I run
Model.
his YouTube channel.
Hey,
That's great.
Funny story, guys. So I got a little bit of something in common with you, Bobby, and also Ron. That Bobby, you mentioned that you were watching that guy when you were 10, and then that's like your first movie you worked with him. I had a similar experience recently in the last Kumite. And Ron, by the way, we could both say we fought in the Kumite. Funny enough. But yeah, that movie, I got to work with all these guys that I watched when I was young. Billy Blanks, Matthias Hughes, Muhammad Kisi, Tong Po, Kurt McKinney, No Retreat, No Surrender. Actually, Kurt McKinney is probably the one that I seen before anybody, but I didn't know who he was because that was like in the 80s. And I didn't even know who Van Damme was at the time either. And who would have ever thought Van Damme would end up being the big star as just he was like the villain in that movie. But yeah, it's funny, actually as a kid and then working with people you watched as a youngster when you got older and doing martial arts with them was quite a thrill. And then, like I said, Ron fighting in the actual Kumite, we both got to do that. Funny enough.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny how that all works out. But
it's actually inspiring watching your journey from your YouTube channel to actually being a part of the thing that you talk about. It's pretty fascinating. You're now part of the brotherhood of action filmmakers. So kudos to you for doing that. And I look forward to seeing your work and seeing, what you're going to do next.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'm also pleased. I had the opportunity of meeting you this year for the first time, and it was truly an honor and a pleasure, man. Your vibes, your energies is just so positive, man. And I hope to meet you again. I hope to work with you one day.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. We're both got all passionate about martial arts, of course, man, and films,
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you guys have a really big announcement that we should probably talk about.
Sure. I'm going to let Ron handle this.
Well, okay. You want to bring Master Goldberg in here, Dave?
Are you ready to bring him in, David?
Yeah,
Sure.
Let's get him in here.
You got it. All right, here we go.
Alan Goldberg. There he is.
I was just pulling my hair. I'm sorry, guys. How you doing?
So, hey, guys, real quick story with Alan Goldberg. I'll tell you. When I came back to the U.S., I was actually, trying to get funding for projects, and I just couldn't get it. People weren't putting up the money or anything like that. I made one phone call to Alan Goldberg. I asked him for his help. He said, "What do you need, Bob?" He is the first one who helped fund my films. And for that, I will never, ever forget the loyalty and love that he showed me. So thank you, Alan.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But also, I think it's a great honor to say, as with Ron Hall and Viking Samurai here, my buddy, there were the two guys who were in the Kumite movies. For real.
Yeah.
All right.
I won't say any more. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, I'll leave it to Ron first, and then I'll jump in. Go on, Ron.
Cool.
Okay. So martial arts, we're all here because we have a love for martial arts and filmmaking. And ironically, a vast majority of martial artists have a love for film. This is probably the first place that they were introduced to martial arts or martial art movies. And, but martial arts, in terms of its relationship to Hollywood, martial arts has kind of been like the red step-headed child, a red-headed stepchild, pushed to the side and, not taken as seriously as it could be, or, not taken as seriously as it could be, even though martial art movies has generated maybe billions of dollars in revenue for Hollywood. Anytime somebody suggests a martial art project, they're probably always met with some form of resistance. So in acknowledgement of that, and knowing that most martial artists want something to do with film, myself, Master Goldberg, and Bobby, we've come along together to announce what we will call the next martial art action star. We're looking for someone who's talented, who's charismatic, someone who represents martial arts. And I say represent martial arts because that's really a clear distinction, because you can always teach an actor how to do martial arts. Mm-hmm. However, when you have a person who embodies a martial artist, that's where the creativity point begins on your film. That's why Jackie Chan looks a lot different than a Keanu Reeves, because Keanu Reeves may have developed into a fine martial artist, but at first he was just an actor in training, as opposed to when Jackie Chan walks on the screen. Jackie Chan brings a wealth and a depth of knowledge, skill, and ability and experience to his action that is instantly identifiable. And martial artists do that when they go on film. When you go to some of these tournaments, if you notice the physicality of the people that you see at tournaments, they rival or exceed the physicality that you see of people in movies with special effects. So what we're going to do is we're going to give an opportunity for people who compete in tournaments and martial artists all over the country to participate in a contest in where myself, Bobby, and other genre martial art actors will evaluate their performance, their ability, and then the winners of this contest, me and Bobby, will produce a martial art action feature starring the winners of this contest.
Well, and can I just jump in here and talk a little about the background of this whole thing, including my events, the Action Mega Weekend. I've known Bobby for about, almost 15 years now, I guess. And I recently had the honor of meeting Ron Hall. I've heard of him, of course, seen him, but we met face to face. And putting something this together, I've had this idea of doing something like this, not exactly, but something like this for years. And it also has, you have to have the right people to do this with. Mm-hmm. And I called the RR brothers, Ron and Robert. They came along in this concept to do something with me. And I said to them, yeah, you got it. Let's get the room together. These two guys are icons in what they do. They've been known for years. Who else am I going to say, let's do this with? You know, about other people want to do things, but I have the confidence enough that I could set my event up, put these guys in their room, whatever they got to do, and let them do their magic. That's what it comes down to. Great guys. Again, me and Bobby going back so many years now, we have a love for each other. And I hope this grows with me and Ron also, that we trust each other. And I think that's the most important part. It's not about just being martial artists. It's the trust and love that we've built. So back to you guys.
I think that I also want to put the caveat in here that this is just not we're not just looking for a male martial arts star. This is gender neutral, meaning male and female can audition for this particular role, because I think female empowerment is so important these days, and action stars, as I stated, my big brother Michael Jai White, his sister, his wife Gillian, my sister, she's having a phenomenal career as a African American action actress right now. Amy Johnson, powerful actress at this point, so I just think that we want to make sure that we open it up to all, meaning men and women, for this particular category that we're in.
I'll just jump in one more thing for those of the audience that don't know about my event. Most people do, some people don't. But we run the largest martial event in the world. Okay, we held this our 23rd year. Tropicana Hotel, January 26th, 27th, 28th, my commercial. And it's not just a weekend. You come in and see a tournament going on. If I can go down the list a little bit to explain, we run 8 separate tournaments for 3 days. We've got guys like Brandon Johnson coming in running a children's dinner. We have our banquet, which is the Academy Awards of Martial Arts. People have never seen anything like this happen because it's all done in one weekend. We have over 70 vendor tables. We have celebrities like Michael Jai, Cynthia Rothrock, Don the Dragon, and on and on and on. It's just a weekend. 50 seminars by guys like Bill Wallace, Benny the Jet. It's the best of the best. Ron and I met. He came to the event. He looked, he goes, wow, I didn't expect this. And most people don't. I lost my hair when I started my event, of course. I had a full head of hair, of course, not really. But it takes a lot of work. I work on it a lot of hours. I have great help behind me. But putting this together and really making it work is different than just talking about it. And again, with partners like this to come along, I'm confident that this is just going to grow. And I know, Ron, I want to say it. This is not just the first thing and only thing we're doing. This is just a prelude to where we want to go. And that's the important part. This is the stepping stone. So I do appreciate it all my heart, Robbie and Mr. Hill.
Love you,
that
Godfather.
we will put this together and make it, famous. We have other guys out there like Demetrius Angelo, great
Yes.
guy. He does it, but he does it a little different. It's not just martial arts. It has a lot of martial arts in it, but we want to just make this for the martial artists. That's the whole thing. So I'll sit
Definitely.
back and listen to you wonderful guys now. Thank you.
Definitely. I got to point out this super chat real quick, and then I got some more questions about this competition. But Brian Ortiz, thank you for the $4.99. He says, wish a speedy recovery to Viking Samurai. Keep punching. Well, I'll definitely keep punching, just not with this arm right now. With this one and doing all my kicks, I'm training around this injury. I actually get this cast off on Tuesday, so I could start moving it a little bit. For anyone that doesn't know, I tore my bicep. It literally, the tendon ripped off the bone at the elbow, and it rolled up like a window blind, which I know so many people that has happened to, including great martial artist Civil Simak, who's another guy that goes to your event, Alan. Amazing event. But, and he actually recovered pretty quickly. So it was always like a nightmare of mine of like, oh, dude, like I'm probably going to rip my bicep someday, because most people eventually do. And it happens, but it is what it is. And yeah, I'm recovering quite well. Now, as far as this competition goes, when does it start, and like, how do people get involved? Like, what do they have to do exactly?
Okay. So first, we're going to be launching a website very soon under the nextmartialstar.com. I'll say it again, the nextmartialstar.com. And the event will be held at Alan Goldberg's mega weekend. So the people who come there and participate will be the people that we're looking at. So if you're a martial artist who think he has some talent and ability and a desire to be in martial art movies, I would advise you to come to the event and let us check out your talent and see what you got. And if you're good, we're going to put you in a movie, and we're going to make you look better than you expect.
So basically, they're doing a live demonstration in front of you guys at the event.
That's correct.
January 27th.
Yes. Along with other martial arts movie stars that will be in attendance and part of the panel.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Now, their audition phase, is this just like in a private room in front of a select group, or is this going to be where people attending the event can kind of watch these martial artists perform?
Right. It will be very like a tournament, very similar to a tournament. And like I said, this is martial art based, meaning, yes, we're going to work in the aspect of film, but we're doing this to cater to the martial artist. Is that if you're a martial artist and that's your main skill, meaning you have to be an actor too, but if you're a martial artist and you have that ability you want to showcase, this will be the one-stop shop that you can come, be discovered, and be placed in a movie that people will see by competent people who know what they're doing and will put out a product. So that's very different from a lot of different venues where you may get a chance to get discovered, but what are you going to do? Or you may be in a movie with a bunch of people who never made a movie before, don't know anything about storytelling, choreography. This is a one-stop shop where if you're aspiring martial art talent, you can come and you can be discovered and find yourself in a movie to showcase to the entire world exactly what you have. And I think that is what will make this unique. And partnering with, Master Goldberg has a stellar reputation of doing this for decades. He was the ideal partner to bring this idea to. And I'm glad he wants us to work with him. And I look forward to the other things that we're going to do as a result of this.
Now, the funny thing, I always wanted to put Bobby to work. And working with Mr. Hall, I had to be honest with you, just by speaking to him and going back and forth with different things. I see they're like carbon copies, very honestly. They look alike a little bit. But, I think that's important, that guys that have passion, but with integrity. That's the important thing.
So I want you to understand this poster to my shoulder here. This young lady, Roxalinda. She was a martial artist, never done any film work at all. Subsequently, I gave her an opportunity, discovered her at a tournament through James and Jason Santi down in Mexico. I put her in my films. Her career has changed exponentially. She is really right now the only Latina action star in Mexico. And she's garnered awards across the world for her performances in the films that I've done with her. So as long as you have the skills, I can make you look good on film. Not only that, acting is important. She's a brilliant actress. What I'll do, though, at the end of the show, Brian, David, I'll send you copies of Shadowfist privately so that you can view it on your own.
Yeah, sounds great. And this is such an amazing opportunity. Quick question, because you guys kind of just broadly said that you're going to select like, a handful. So obviously there's going to be a lead, a protagonist. Like, how many roles are available for this project? You guys know yet?
Yeah, I can just tell you. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to develop the project around the unique talents of the individuals that we pick. For example, like if you take Bloodsport took what was the essence of Jean-Claude Van Damme and was able to focus on his unique abilities and launch his career. Well, a lot of times martial artists don't get that opportunity because people who write scripts, a lot of times they don't understand the nuances of martial art action. And so they don't get the opportunity to showcase their strengths in terms of their ability, their character, and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to find some talented people, and between me, Bobby, and writers like Robert Jefferson, we will come up with an idea that will best showcase that person and put it in a story that you as the viewer watch it will be entertained. It'll be a full feature length film that you can watch, has a story, middle, beginning, end, with characters and action to showcase the all-around talents of this martial art performer.
That's brilliant. Perfect idea. Another great example of a movie specifically made for the guy, and nobody else would have pulled it off as well as him, was Above the Law with Steven Seagal. That was specifically tailor-made for him, and that's why he became a big star. So this idea isn't just, paint by numbers. Oh, you're a great martial artist. Here's a movie. But specifically creating it and crafting it around them, that is the reason why they probably would actually blow up.
I think it's important when you see things like this, and you're talking about stars and guys like Van Damme, whatever, and Seagal, who I became friends with. Like, I speak to him like every other week now.
Skull's awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's weird when you speak to him on the phone and you remember Steven Seagal.
Yeah,
but these guys are characters in their own right, okay, and maybe never again given the chance to do a film. So what these guys are doing right now are looking for the same type of characters, okay? And I mean in real life, having the skills is also important. But speaking to these guys and talking to them and seeing them on film, you see why they're making it where they made it. That's what it comes down to. So these guys are on the forefront to bring in the next guys that can be those characters.
For sure. Yeah. And I've always said everything's cyclical. And I really think, I know, Ron, you had said the martial arts genre in a lot of ways for Hollywood is like the redheaded stepchild, but it did have a lot of respect in the 80s and 90s. It's kind of fallen off since then, but everything's cyclical. So it's coming back. And, this is a great opportunity for people to get involved with that part of it.
Well, let me clarify what I mean by redheaded stepchild. Martial art movies aren't treated in the same vein as the average movie. I'll give an example. Before there ever was The Matrix, which was basically the first martial art blockbuster produced by, outside of Enter the Dragon, that was produced by a major Hollywood studio, I'd spent maybe nearly a decade saying, you know what, if you take the same production value, energy, focus, concentration, and put it into a martial art movie, you could produce the results of a Matrix. And people's like, no, Ron, that's not possible. Van Damme his movies only do like $30 million. They're not going to do, $200-300 million. Well, we've seen martial art movies that have done over $100 million. Rush Hour movies, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. There are many examples that when Hollywood is on board with martial art talent and martial art action films, the result that it produced can be something that entertains martial art fans and people who are not martial art fans, but like martial arts in movies. So what this will focus on is nurturing the talent of martial artists who are martial artists and have character, and develop them to give them a showcase to show the world what they can do. And then if Hollywood takes notice, they will also give that person an opportunity, the same opportunity we're giving them. But they will be a proven commodity in terms of Hollywood will be able to see more than a demo reel. They'll be able to see that person in a fully fleshed out story with character and action, and will instantly be able to recognize the appeal of that person. And a lot of martial artists find themselves going to Hollywood, knocking up against the door because they quote unquote aren't a traditional actor. Well, guess what? Most martial artists who do movies aren't traditional actors. They are martial artists and they're actors. So the advantage that martial art people have is they have a skill that is, when you put it on screen, it can be as dynamic, as powerful, as inspirational as any special effect that any team of computer graphics can conjure together. A martial artist who is skilled with that ability can produce the exact same result. Me and Bobby understand that. If you look at all the great martial art guys, none of them started out with a big budget movie. Bruce Lee, low budget. Tony Jaa, low budget. Jackie Chan, low budget. What they all had in common were the person who had an ability and a skill and knew how to perform it, and people behind the camera who knew what they wanted the desired result to be. And that's what we're developing here for aspiring, talented martial artists.
And martial arts is not going anywhere. As you know, when you look at most tentpole films like the Marvel series and other action films, there is a base of martial arts and movement now. No longer is the John Wayne block and punch effective in the US films, because martial arts has had such an indelible impression upon the film industry as a whole. A lot of Hong Kong action directors like Mai Dai-Go, Andy Chung, they migrate to the United States, and a lot of American directors use them immediately because they understand the value in what they do. Look at series like Into the Badlands. What network would invest that much into martial arts TV series like that? Classic. Look at the Marvel series. Look at the films recently. Was it Black Panther? Everything has a martial art based tinge to the action style. So it's no longer. Look at the Bourne Identity. You can see the transition where it's no longer the block punch, hit to the gut, push them in, take something, smash them. No, it's very intricately designed and stylized. So martial arts in general for cinema and film, it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay, because anything less will be viewed as, oh wow, it's not that good, because there's been a plateau now. There's a level that people accept as far as action in films. Look at Deadpool. Okay, Deadpool's a clear example. It's comedy, dark comedy, Marvel character, but the martial arts has a very important part in Deadpool. So.
No doubt. Here's a comment that from Angel the Best. He said, did they say where this is taking place? Yes, we did cover that. It's going to be at Alan Goldberg's Mega Action Weekend. That's January 26th, 27th, and 28th, right, Alan?
Right. January 26th, 27th, 28th, Atlantic City, Tropicana Hotel. We're on the 4th floor, South Tower. We take over the whole hotel that weekend. We're like the largest piece of business Tropicana has. And they come from all over, and there thousands of people show up.
Yes. And you guys, man, that's the opportunity. So if you are serious about trying to break out and you think you got the skills and the talent, if you haven't been to Alan's event yet, well, this is the time you got to go, early 2024. So definitely make that a priority, man. That could be a game changer. That could change your life potentially.
Yeah. As before, specific
Alan, can you say that date again? I'm sorry.
January 26th, 27th, 28th, Tropicana Hotel, Atlantic City. 27th. I'm on Facebook under Alan Goldberg. Anyone wants to hit me up, feel free.
And like I said, for specific information, you want to go to thenextmartialstar.com. Thenextmartialstar.com. The website should be up in a few days, and it'll have all the details and information you need on how to participate.
We're gonna be putting that up for you also. I'm pushing that so people know where to go and have a good time also.
Thanks.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, here's a comment. I do got to plug something real quick. Antonio said, I'd like to see a movie crafted around David and his abilities. Show us what you can do, brother. Well, you guys got to watch Bloodstorm coming out next year and check out the Instagram page, Bloodstorm Movie, because the director, Rene Perez, had actually found me last year, and me and him were talking for a while. Long story short, we put together something quite special. It's a prison transport gone wrong, and I guess you could say my character is the baddest of the bad. So a lot of cool fights in that one, man.
Just to add in there, also that weekend, we have the Warrior Island is going to be putting up the 1 and 2, which David is in and I'm in. We're going to be putting that up at our show also. It'll be a little after what we do with these other 2 gentlemen, but it will be showing also.
Excellent.
All kinds of great stuff at the event. So have you confirmed, Alan, who's going to be there? Like, is Michael Jai White going to be there next year's?
Michael Jai, Benny the Jet, Cynthia Rothrock, Don the Dragon. We have Ray Mercer coming in, and we have so many celebrities and stars. Sylvia Similac. We have right now we have over 17 countries coming in.
Wow!
And I'm not talking about a guy that owns a 7-Eleven on the corner. I'm talking people that are literally traveling with visas coming from countries. Some of them I can't even pronounce, but they're coming in to be part of this event.
Incredible. Brian, you got to bring Tim Witherspoon out there.
Yeah, I think he's been in the past, hasn't he, Alan?
Yeah, a couple of years ago he's come down. Matter of fact, him and Ray Mercer put a seminar together, which was a blast. The 2 of them on the floor.
He told me about that. We're doing something like that with a thing called the Circle of Legends, but it will just be helping out boxers make some those especially struggling. We're setting up boxing seminars. Maybe we could do something like that if you guys would be interested. We could fly them in.
We're open for everything.
Awesome.
Guys, remember the website, thenextmartialartstar.com, and that'll be up in the next couple of days. Anybody watching, you got any last questions or comments while we have all these gentlemen here? Hey, I'll take this. Michael Risdell said, we need to see Michael Jai White versus Viking Samurai on a screen fight. I'll take that. Sign me up. Who wouldn't want to fight him on screen?
Real quick, I just need to ask, is it the nextmartialstar.com or Next Martial Arts?
Next Martial Star. Because somebody had,
Okay, I got it right. Next Martial Star. All right.
Yeah.
I was panicking. I thought I had it up wrong the whole time.
Okay. No.
Well, I don't know if we want to get into this, but I will read this last comment. You don't have to go in too much detail, Alan.
Okay.
Antonio says, great to see Sifu Alan Goldberg on the channel. Did Master Alan and Master Frank make up? We want to see these 2 men reunite for the martial arts.
That would be its own film. Let's put it that way. They would give no, I just don't feel there's any reason to make up when we're on the side of truth and justice in the American way.
And Frank Dukes, I guess, is the kryptonite in your world.
Not mine.
Okay.
Not mine. Not at all.
Okay. Well, there you go, Antonio. So anyway, thanks guys for joining today. This was great. And, talking about this amazing opportunity, and I'll be covering it more on my channel as the date get closer. And assuming I'm not in Dubai fighting Jimmy Justice from Warrior Island, which we'll see because of this injury, which was supposed to be January 27th, by the way, if that goes down, assuming I'm not there doing a kickboxing match, I will be at the event, Alan. And me and Brian will cover it and get some cool coverage with what, Ron and Bobby and you are putting together.
As soon as you know, let me know. So we'll
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
See you later, everybody.
Thank you. Hey, Brad, we're going to get together, man, for lunch. Chinatown.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.